KILR Killer Game.
Hello, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome back to the World Tour featuring Microsoft Flight Simulator 3 for the PC. MS-DOS, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, it was DOS. Yeah, it wasn't a starter program. But, yeah, it's been a couple of years since we last had an episode on this. And a lot has changed since that last episode. So, for example, I've been in the trucking industry, so that took some time away. But we also managed to hit 1,000 subscribers this year in 2023. And I wanted to put together some special videos to celebrate the 1,000 subscribers, but kind of happened a lot more quicker than I thought. So I decided, how about just bring back all the old classics that brought you here, to begin with. So here we go. We're going back to the World Tour here with Flight Simulator 3. And this is on DOSBox. And it works pretty well. And we're using scenery disk number 11. And it is about... the sun is about to come up. So, while that is on its way coming up, let's go ahead and talk about our flight. Okay, so we are here at Mount Pleasant, and I'm just going to, put spots around here. We're going to be flying here to Saginaw, Michigan, at the Tri-City Airport, which is no longer called Tri-City. It's actually called the M. Mike Bravo Sierra International Airport because, well, there's a lot of airports called Tri-City, so they didn't want to get it confused. So they went with MBS, which is part of the ICAO code. So it's KMBS, but they just no longer call it Tri-City. But yeah, it's a pretty short flight. And we're following the same flight plan like we did on the Commodore 64 and the Commodore Amiga. And yeah, whenever I can do a complete version of Flight Simulator 2 for the PC, those will be on here also. Those are a bit more tough to try to get going because of hardware, software restrictions and stuff like that, because you can't emulate it perfectly. With the scenery discs and stuff, it's kind of annoying. But take a look. Get out and look. The sun is starting to come up. How about that? So this is a little bit different than what we did on the Commodore 64 and the Amiga, where we kind of started. It was, sun was already up. But we're going to be doing this here at dawn. So let's go ahead and we'll get things started here. We're going to tune in to the VOR, which is 112.9. So let's go ahead and do that. 112.9. Now this is a step up from the Commodore Amiga version, sort of. Remember, we don't have really any sound other than the PC speaker, so yeah. But flight-wise and visually, it actually, in my opinion, looks better than the Amiga, but it just doesn't sound the greatest. And plus, it has a few more features than the Amiga version does. For example, the DME you can switch this between nav 2 and nav 1. Right now, it's on nav 2. So I'm going to switch that to nav 1. And, oh, okay, so apparently I still have it on there. I didn't realize I used it from the last flight. I forgot. And we're going to go ahead and turn the lights on. There we go. We got some lights on the dash. And let's see. We're going to be landing on what appears to be runway, I don't know, 15 or 14 or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and change for number 1 to 140. I think there's an easy way to change this, but instead of just sitting there clicking it. All right, let's go ahead and get going. We're gonna go to the end of the runway, and we'll turn around and we'll take off. So we'll hit M to bring up the menu up there for the mags. I think we could probably just click on the box too. All right, gotta love that sound, right? Kind of moving here, but I'm trying to figure out. There's the brakes. There we go. Now I gotta ask the question, which one's more annoying, the PC speaker or the Commodore 64? Because the sound on it is about roughly the same. Another improvement of this over the Commodore Amiga is the frame rate. The frame rate is definitely a lot better. Now, it might be going slightly faster. I'm looking at the clock there, 7 1000, 8 1000. Okay, no, looks like the time is actually correct. It's going at the right speed. So if you like to have a smooth flight experience, and this is definitely an improvement over the Commodore Amiga, not to bash the Commodore Amiga, all right, because the Commodore Amiga Flight Simulator has got some fond memories for me, because that was my first PC that I bought, was the Commodore Amiga 500. So I'm just kind of comparing the two, and just saying, you know, the frame rate and everything is nice here. I wish it was as good on the Amiga. I really do. But we can say that on the Amiga, you've got better center lines with the scenery disc than what you do here. These are just lines. And that's because these scenery discs, the ones they did for the Amiga, are actually, I guess you could say they kind of like did them new or something for that. Whereas what you're seeing here is from the scenery discs for Flight Simulator 2. And they just, what you do is you buy that same scenery disc and then you convert it to make it work for Flight Simulator 3. So it's the same exact scenery, whereas on the Amiga version they actually kind of updated it a little bit, so that way you don't have a line there. You have an actual center line. So see, there are still some things with the Amiga that are still an improvement. The sound, definitely. I mean, some may say, well, you know what, the frames may not be as smooth, but it sure is a lot better to listen to than this. I'd have to agree with you. Let's go ahead and we will take off here. Stay on the runway, dude. There we go. Landing gear up. And we are on our way. Another feature you've got here on Microsoft Flight Simulator 3, you can do these large rectangles, small rectangles, dots. It adds a little bit more to the scenery, kind of breaks up the monotony, which is kind of nice. You got stars out in the sky. It's all stuff that I wish, wish they would have done for the Amiga. But this is Microsoft Flight Simulator 3 as opposed to SubLogic Flight Simulator 2, which technically is SubLogic Flight Simulator 3, but it's the same team, as far as I'm aware, Bruce Artwick. We'll go ahead and level off here at 4,000. And I'd say we'll probably land once the sun comes up. I think that's a fair assessment. No, we might get there before. It should come up at 7:30. Well, let's see. We're flying about 100 knots. Let's see if we can increase that speed. We'll bring our elevator trim down here. Got to work between pitch and speed. Pitch and throttle. Pitch and power. There we go. I know there's a terminology that they use because it's like P and P. So yeah, pitch and power. Alright, I will meet back up with you as soon as we get ready to land. Okay, back here with you. We are getting lined up for the runway. You can see that up there. And we're just flying over Saginaw, Michigan. Right behind us. It's right back here. Just about centered there on 140. We can start lining up there. And the altitude of the airport is about just over 700 feet. And we're about 5 miles out here. One more thing of flaps. Let's see where that takes our speed at. We're able to see the runway just a little bit more there. Barely see it right there, but it looks like we're somewhat lined up to it pretty decently. I think we're still coming in a little bit more faster than I was planning. Not quite as centered as I'd like. That is one thing about the PC graphics, is that the pixels are not as thicker. They're a lot more finer. So when it comes to lining up with the runway, it's a little bit more easier to see those runway lines. At 2.3 miles. Still kind of coming in at it on an angle, but you can see the runway now. I think we might be coming in just a little bit low. I'm not sure here. I don't think it's too bad. Oh, geez. It might help if we put the landing gear down. That may not be a good idea. To land without the landing gear. Alright, we've done it. Looks like there's scenery out there in the distance. I think that's just an airport out there. Alright, let's just go ahead and get off the runway. Right over here should do it. Alright, with 30 seconds left to go before the sun actually comes all the way up. So we are here at the Tri-City Airport in Saginaw, Michigan, following that same path as we've done on the other two flight simulators. And we will continue with our tour, so I hope you'll subscribe and click the notification bell so you get notified of those flight sim content. As you can see, there we go, it's daytime. So it'll be daytime for the next flight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Have a killer, awesome day.